Chapter 1. Forged in the Fires of Leningrad. The winter of 1952 gnawed at Leningrad's skeletal remains, its streets still scarred by siege. Vladimir Putin clawed his way into a world of communal apartments and shared gas stoves, where three families crammed into a single hallway, and survival was a daily brawl. His parents, a disabled factory worker and a mother hardened by famine, carved out a sliver of stability in their 20-square-meter room, a sanctuary amid the rot of post-war scarcity. Young Volodya learned early, weakness meant humiliation. By 12, he traded street brawls for the dojo. Judo became his escape, a dance of discipline and calculated violence. Under Anatoly Raklin, a coach who saw a boy with fire in his gut, Putin mastered the Harai Gashi hip throw, a move that would later mirror his geopolitical gambits. Raklin drilled into him the judo creed. Use your opponent's weight against them. Wait. Strike when they falter. Nights bled into dawns on sweat slick mats, fists raw, ribs bruised. One winter evening, two drunk men lunged at him at a tram stop. Putin handed his bag to a friend, snapped the first assailant into a snowbank, then slammed the second beside him. At Leningrad State University, Putin carved a path as silent as a shadow. Law lectures bored him, power fascinated. He drove a rare Soviet car, a gift from parents who mortgaged their future for his ambition, and buried himself in KGB lore, devouring the shield and the sword, a novel glamorizing Soviet spies. Classmates whispered, "Who owns a car? Who stares like he's already plotting your end?" Professors noted his cold precision, a mind that dissected arguments like tactical maps. Mentors sharpened his edges. Raklin's judo lessons morphed into life axioms. Offense, not defense. A KGB recruiter, spotting potential in his steely resolve, nudged him toward the secret world. Putin's father, a man etched by war and whispered NKVD ties, offered no warmth, only a warning. In Russia, only the strong choose their fate. By 1975, the KGB's doors swung open. Putin vanished into the labyrinth, a ghost in training. His first mission? To master silence, to dissolve into crowds, to extract secrets with a smile. Years later, as flames consumed classified files in a Dresden safe house during the Berlin Wall's fall, he'd recall Leningrad's icy streets, the hunger, the judo throws, the unyielding truth. Survival was a game of leverage, and he'd learned to bend the world to his will. The boy from the rubble was gone. What remained was a weapon, forged in cold, tempered by betrayal, hungry for reckoning. Chapter 2. The Spy Who Rose, Secrets in East Germany. Dresden, 1985. The air reeked of coal dust and paranoia. A gaunt KGB lieutenant, codenamed Vladimir, stalked dimly lit streets, his breath frosting in sync with the Stasi surveillance cameras whirring above. East Germany was a chessboard of double agents, dead drops, and whispered betrayals, and Putin played to win. The Lubyanka's basement had been his crucible. Months of Spetsnaz drills, breaking ribs in hand-to-hand combat, memorizing cipher keys mid-sprint, swallowing cyanide pills only to spit them back seconds before dissolution. Instructors barked, "Fear is a leak. Plug it." Putin thrived. During a midnight survival test in Siberia's minus 40 degrees Celsius tundra, trainees collapsed. He stalked a wolf for its pelt, skinned it with a rusted knife. By dawn, he wore the beast's teeth as a necklace. Net Straka, a commander sneered, "No fear." The ultimate compliment. Assigned to a crumbling Stasi safe house, Putin posed as a translator, his cover thinner than East German coffee. His mission? Recruit assets to funnel Western tech to Moscow. But Dresden was a nest of vipers. One slip, and the Stasi, allies in theory, rivals in practice, would gut him. A frigid January night. A coded knock. A trembling physicist slipped him NATO schematics for laser-guided missiles. Putin hid the microfilm inside a cigarette, lit it, inhaled the secret. Moments later, Stasi boots pounded the stairwell. He crushed the butt into an ashtray, offered the agents a sardonic toast with vodka. Prost, They left empty-handed. His greatest weapon? Ice-blooded restraint. When a drunk informant accused him of treason at a party, Putin laughed, clapped the man's shoulder, then later rigged his car to skid into the Elba. No body, no evidence. Just another defector. He studied the KGB's golden rule. Every move is a feint. In Dresden's shadows, he orchestrated chaos like a maestro. A high-stakes game unfolded. Soviet moles in Bonn needed extraction. Instead of brute force, Putin leaked fake intel to MI6, diverting attention. West German counterintelligence chased ghosts. His agents slipped through checkpoints disguised as priests. But the true lesson came in 1989. Protesters swarmed Leipzig, the Berlin Wall trembling. Putin's Stasi counterparts panicked, burned files. He stood amidst the smoke, retrieving a single dossier, a list of deep cover assets, before torching the rest. Loyalty to the mission, not the regime. Back in his sparse flat, he played chess alone, rehearsing endgames. The board mirrored his mind. Pawns sacrificed, knights ambushing, queens cornered. He'd mastered the art of maskirovka, deception as strategy. When the wall fell, Moscow abandoned Dresden. Putin didn't. He buried cash, aliases, and weapons in caches across the city. The KGB had taught him to survive. Dresden taught him to conquer. As riots engulfed the streets, he vanished into the chaos. A ghost again, but sharper, deadlier. The next move was his. Chapter 3. Political Gambits. From city fixer to Kremlin power broker. St. Petersburg, 1991. The Neva River froze black under a sky heavy with sleet. Vladimir Putin, now a gaunt bureaucrat in a frayed overcoat, stalked City Hall's dim corridors. Mayor Anatoly Sobchak, reformer, firebrand, gambler, needed a blade in the shadows. Putin became his scalpel. A smuggler's ship idled at port, holds brimming with contraband, sugar for guns. Customs agents demanded bribes. Sobchak demanded results. Putin moved at midnight. He summoned the smugglers, the agents, the Vor kingpin pulling strings. No threats, just a whisper. Take the sugar, leave the guns, or lose everything. Dawn broke with the ship gone, the port silent. Sobchak grinned. My fixer works miracles. Miracles turned routine. When oligarchs tried to seize the city's oil reserves, Putin drafted contracts in unbreakable legalese. When strikes choked the docks, he dispatched ex-Spetsnaz thugs to negotiate. Colleagues marveled at his icy pragmatism. He doesn't drink, doesn't joke, just solves, muttered a deputy. But survival had a price. Putin's loyalty was a transaction. Moscow's corridors reeked of vodka and decay. Boris Yeltsin's inner circle, a den of drunkards and thieves, spotted Putin's lethal clarity. Hired as deputy chief of the Presidential Property Office, he untangled the Kremlin's graft with surgical precision. $1 billion dacha scheme? Dissolved. Swiss bank accounts? Frozen. The oligarchs howled. Yeltsin chuckled. This pitbull bites, duh. August 1999. The Kremlin's walls trembled. Yeltsin, hollowed by scandals, summoned Putin. The meeting lasted 6 minutes. Your prime minister, Yeltsin rasped. Fix it. Grozny burned. Chechen rebels butchered Russian conscripts, broadcasting the carnage. Putin stared at the footage, jaw-taut. In a bunker beneath Moscow, generals urged caution. He lit a cigarette. Flush them out. Burn them. The order. Scorched earth. Artillery turned cities to ash. Jets strafed mountain villages. State TV aired Putin in a fighter jet, jaws set, eyes glacial. We'll waste them in the shithouse, he snarled. The public, starved for strength, roared approval. Yeltsin's resignation came on New Year's Eve, a gut punch to the nation. Putin, now acting president, addressed the cameras at midnight. No smile, no platitudes, just a sniper's stare. Russia will rise. By dawn, FSB agents stormed oligarchs' mansions. Tax audits rained like hellfire. The message? The rules had changed. In the Kremlin's war room, Putin paced with a chessboard. Knights, bishops, kings, all in his grip. The boy from Leningrad, the spy from Dresden, the fixer from Petersburg. All pawns sacrificed. The gambit was set. Checkmate loomed. Chapter 4. The Iron Fist Building a Global Empire. Midnight in Moscow. A helicopter thunders over Red Square, searchlights slicing through the frost-laced dark. Inside, a man stares down, ice-blue eyes unblinking. Vladimir Putin isn't watching the city. He's surveying his kingdom. The metamorphosis was swift, brutal. The caretaker president shed his skin, revealing the autocrat beneath. Opposition voices? Crushed. Media outlets? Seized, throttled into obedient silence. Courts, legislatures, oligarchs all bent to his will. The Kremlin's corridors hummed with fear. One journalist who dared print the truth about Chechnya sip tea laced with polonium-210. A former spy turned critic collapsed in Salisbury, convulsing from Novichok. Message sent. Then, the spectacle. The myth-making. A Siberian tiger prowling toward camera crews. Putin tranquilizes it with a single shot. Bare-chested on horseback, judo-flipping opponents, piloting fighter jets. State media lapped it up. The modern czar, half man, half beast. The people roared approval. Reality blurred. Propaganda became gospel. Crimea came next. Shadows moved. Little green men flooded the peninsula, uniforms stripped of insignia. Denials dripped from diplomatic podiums. Then the grin. The admission. The world gasped. Putin exhaled. Red Square erupted. Fireworks blazed as he declared, "Crimea has always been Russian." Maps redrawn overnight. Sanctions? A shrug. The bear had tasted blood. Syria burned. Russian jets screamed across the Mediterranean. Aleppo became ash. Hospitals collapsed. Children buried in rubble. Putin leaned back, fingers steepled. "We're fighting terrorism," he purred. The West seethed but hesitated. He outmaneuvered them again. Gas pipelines snaked into Europe, veins pumping leverage. Cyber attacks flickered through foreign elections. Disinformation metastasized. Democracy? A hollow laugh echoed in the Situation Room. Ukraine. The obsession. Kiev's tilt west was a dagger at his throat. Proxy wars erupted. Donbass smoldered. MH17 fell from the sky, bodies strewn across sunflower fields. Putin denied, deflected, dared. NATO scrambled. Tanks rolled. Yet he advanced. Relentless, a chess master 10 moves ahead. The man who rules with an iron fist wears no crown. His power is primal, ruthlessness wrapped in calm. Critics call him a tyrant. Admirers hail a savior. In Siberian villages, babushkas cross themselves at his image. In St. Petersburg's cafes, dissidents whisper behind hands. The economy staggers, dissent simmers, but the cult holds. He walks alone through the Kremlin's gilded halls, a former KGB ghost who became empire's architect. Some say he dreams of Peter the Great, of Catherine's expansion. Others see Stalin's shadow. Does it matter? The legacy is etched in steel. A Russia feared, a superpower reborn. Snow falls on the Sochi Olympics. Putin watches the flames rise, face unreadable. Somewhere a clock ticks. Sanctions tighten. Bodies pile up in Bucha. The world holds its breath. The game isn't over. It's just beginning.